2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Morley or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
All right, Footy Classified is back on tonight. On last night, Natalie, which is good news. But we're backing up for 2 nights in a row. This time at the helm, you'll see Eddie McGuire. He'll be joined by James Hird and Tom Morris. And Eddie joins us now. Good morning, Ed.
G'day, Shaun, and great to be with you as well, Nat. We've actually got Rory Sloane on as well tonight. So bringing the Sloane Ranger in, so that'll be fantastic. And Tommy Morris will be up in Sydney for the AFL launch, so we'll have all the stories. And, of course, the big one is whether or not the Queensland games go on at all. So opening round might be closing round before we even get started.
I know, a bit of a fizzer,
Well, it's going to be interesting. The call needs to probably be made today, Ed, don't you think? I mean, the AFL, Andrew Dillon's waiting to hear probably from the Queensland government to see what they recommend. But it looks... I mean, it's likely. It's all over Australia.
Yeah.
That Cyclone Alfred's been talked about.
Well, I think there's a pretty simple thought process on that, and that is if you're thinking about evacuating people from an area, probably don't fly into it, would be my suggestion. And the other thing is, you know, you've got to, it's not just the playing conditions, for example, which will be subpar, but it's people going up there and then people on the roads and people going out there and the impost on emergency services if they're needed somewhere else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's too hard, so just make the call. Put round 3 back in round 3, and instead of just pulling that for this one occasion. It's the Sydney dream anyway to have all eyes on Sydney, and they'll have that. So I think they just should make the decision now. And everyone's going, oh, well, it might be okay on Sunday for the other game or Saturday for the other game. You go, don't worry about it. It's not. It's going to be, if a cyclone hits, it's not a passing shower.
There's some leaves that have to be raked up afterwards.
Yeah, the guy on the blower's going to have a bloody couple of weeks ahead of him doing that job.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've been up to the Gold Coast, but it's a pretty open stadium up there. So, look, you know, they're taking into account that the roof doesn't get blown off as well. So if it's as bad as we all think, I think the easy solution would be just... let's park it, give Sydney a bit of love and get everyone back into round 3 and away we go.
And when they've got that flexibility, it's crazy that they haven't made the call already, to be honest.
Well, Nat, it's an interesting one because I get a bit of heat over here because I've pushed hard for the roof in Tasmania and I'd like to see a roof at the MCG. And this is the reason why. I mean, last year, people forget, Melbourne and Collingwood in the last game of the season last year, it basically got stopped for lightning. Now, as it turned out, it was a dead rubber, but most times, you know, it wouldn't be. And you had the whole finals dependent on it. If we're going to, whether you believe in climate change or whatever, we certainly have climate events. And we're having more of them. I mean, in my life, I've never seen a game be postponed because of the weather. But if we're going to play games now right around the country and have tropical conditions, et cetera, then we have to, get ourselves sorted. So hopefully up there they build
an
Olympic stadium.
A Tasmanian winter.
I mean, regardless, it should be a roof, and it should be very much heated.
Well, they say that. Well, Ned, you're right on it because people say, "Oh, it doesn't rain as much in Hobart as it does in Melbourne." And I said, "Yeah, but from the back row, you can see a polar bear."
It's cold. I mean, when penguins are running the drinks, you know it's a cold place.
I tell you what, Ed, I was watching a couple of the NRL teams get interviewed about them flying back into Australia and or up from Sydney to Queensland. This one guy said, I am not getting on that plane. The team can tell me I'm going to be playing, but I'm not. If they want to fly us up on Wednesday, it's not happening, mate. I'm just not doing it.
That would make sense. Why would you do it? I mean, as we said, if they're thinking about evacuating people, probably not the place to go to. So, and I suppose the other thing is, I'm not sure what's the weather going to be like in Perth this weekend, but I know in Melbourne it's absolutely beautiful. It's probably a bit hot, to be honest.
Of course it's glorious here, Ed. Of course it is.
The big blue, Ed.
It always is.
Well, this time of year it is. This is the purple patch in Melbourne. Autumn is the season in Melbourne.
It's going to be a massive year. We look forward to watching you on Footy Classified. Tom Morris, by the way.
You go.
Yes, mate.
I know you're winding up. I've got to ask you, mate.
Yep.
Fremantle have got. They've done the great deal of all time now. I mean, they have got that many home games.
What do you mean? Don't even start with the home games. You play 17 at the MCG.
Yeah,
Give me strength, Ed.
Come on.
And 8 of those are away games. So don't forget. So it's a neutral territory. No, I think it's a great deal. I think North are going to get the money, but Freo have done a fantastic job here. They've got themselves set up, and I think even the game at Gathering, you've got Richmond, so you've got 3 or 4 buys.
Yes, you've got a buy.
It's fantastic. So I'm really up for Freo. I thought they were great the other night.
The premiership window's open, Sean.
Well, you guys played particularly well the other night, as you said, Eddie.
Yeah,
and
against the Witches' hats. Come on.
Yeah, I know. They were terrible. Nick Dacos, does this take his own footy to a match? I mean, he is that good. It is unbelievable.
He's just magnificent, isn't he? So it's the price of admission. And I mean, Josh is great too, but I know he takes it to another level. And it's like watching the great players in action. That's why all these years later you still turn up, and these guys are all my son's ages now, and a lot of them are around at our house. And I'm sort of in the old days it was me and Dermot carrying on, and Steve Silvani and Craig Kelly and all those lunatics. Now we're the presidents and the CEOs and etc. And all those young guys, like we had Cody Waitman, he stayed at our house for 3 days after he had his knee operated the other day, the Western Bulldogs guy. And Cody's just a ripper. He's just, I mean, he actually reminds me a bit of you, to be honest. He's got the same hair and great personality, and he's
What are you doing, Ed? Are you running some sort of rehab ward at your house? What's the story there?
Well, it is. It's great. Well, they all seem to find their way to our place at some stage. Carl's cooking, not for my company, I can tell you.
Sure.
But, they're just great kids, and it actually renews your faith. I loved it when I was the president of Collingwood because of the interaction with the players. But now you've got these young kids coming through, and it actually stops you becoming a grumpy old so-and-so on Footy Classified, because you understand again and you realise the pain that they go through, and the ambition and the fears and the triumphs and the joys and the mateship and everything that comes together to make football so great. And
that's why we love it.
Hopefully we can bring that across. But good luck to. I think West Coast are in the building phase. They'll be okay, but I think Freo are up for a big year. Yeah,
they should be up for a big year for sure. And if they're not, then my good mate Justin Longmuir will be looking for a new gig. But he did a good time at Collingwood whilst there, Ed.
I was going to say, if he gets the chop, I'd be telling Collingwood to go get him. He was an amazing assistant coach. He played a pivotal role in Collingwood's rise in 2018, and we were glad to see that he got a senior job, but I was very sad to see the back of him. He's a ripper, and if people don't know much about him because he's a quiet type and he's building a team, he is an absolute ripping coach. And as I said, be careful what you wish for if you're wanting him out of the club, because there'll be a few. I'll drive over to Melbourne and pick him up.
Put him in the wing.
He can share a room with Cody Waitman at your house.
Right.
Exactly.
Ed, can't wait to see you back on the box tonight, mate, and really appreciate your time. Great chat.
Good on you, guys. Great to be with you, and good luck for the season.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Ed.
See you, buddy.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, Reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Northbridge or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
All right, as we know, footy is back. You can get on board with Kayo Sports and sign up today. We get the opportunity to catch up with Tom Hawkins, former Geelong champion. Good morning, Tom.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Great. We had you on last week, actually. We just thought you did such a great job. We're going to be pestering you every week. But there was a conversation about your hair.
How's it looking today? Better cover that off. Is it good?
Yeah, no. Well, we could always FaceTime. It's pretty sharp.
Hey, there was a few guys I played with would get. So Michael Walters, he'd get a haircut every week.
Yes.
I know.
You got any of those guys in your team? Oh, formerly, Tom?
Formerly.
Yes.
The former teammate Joel Selwood was very good on the haircut. Now, look, there's a few. Tyson Stengel. There's a few that just let it grow. Reece Stanley refuses to get haircuts. Mark Blitzarves. Actually, when he does, he runs a bit of a tint through it. I noticed spending as much time as I did with Mark. So, They're all unique, but I'm sure they're the same at every club.
Yeah, I met Reece Stanley down south, actually, Nat.
Yes.
His
wife goes, she goes to my hairdresser, so, you know.
There you go.
Full circle.
He's a good fella. But, yes, he's letting his hair go long.
They're a lovely family, the Stanleys. They live just down the road, so I think Reece and I talk more farming than we do actually football. So, and they do love getting back over to Western Australia to Kirsten's family farm and harvesting and getting his hands dirty. So it coincides with harvest and the off season, which is great for them.
Yeah, it is.
Just back to hair for a second. Obviously, with Bailey Smith moving to Geelong, do you think like the mullet's going to take off with the other players, or is he going to influence them that way, or do you reckon he might go a bit more clean cut now?
No, I think he'll keep the mullet. It's an iconic thing that we associate with Bailey Smith. I don't think he will infiltrate the group per se, but what I think he will infiltrate is our supporter base. Yeah. And I expect it there to be a few mullets throughout the crowd, and maybe even something they can sell at the cat shop. That we maybe even see a bay of mullets, of Bailey Smith mullets potentially. So we've seen it with players that have got those iconic hairdos in the past, so maybe that's something to watch throughout the year.
Oh, we certainly will be. Now, Tom, this game on a Thursday night, I presume the AFL going to make a call on it today. No doubt. So the Cats won't be taking the plane up to the Gabba. I wouldn't have thought. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, look, you've been in football long enough to formulate the same opinion as I have. Without knowing anything from anyone, my educated guess would be that the game maybe gets postponed, which is a real disappointment, not only for Geelong, but more in particularly for the Brisbane Lions. They plan to unfurl their flag. Now, look, it still could go ahead, but I heard on radio this morning that the cyclone category has been upgraded, which gives you the indication and makes me sit back and as I plan to watch the game on Thursday night, makes me happy that I don't have to go through the process of thinking and preparing for 300 mils of rain and 100k winds on the weekend.
Nobody wants to sit through that, to be honest. What were you like as a flyer? Like, would you be happy to jump on a plane that's flying into a cyclone?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is where it gets interesting. I'm getting worse and worse as I get older.
Right. Yeah.
We had a flight up there a couple of years ago, flying into the Gold Coast, and we flew through a storm system that just grew out of kind of nowhere, and half of my team was sitting there laughing, thinking it was the funniest thing ever. Yeah. And I was sitting next to Tom Stewart, and we were both absolutely petrified. So my idea of flying into a Category 2 cyclone, Alfredo, as a few people were referring to it this morning, is not my...
No,
I'm with you. No, bugger that. Yeah. There's no way.
I mean, if you've got... that just seems like a bad idea. Really.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about this because a couple of my mates have been on offshore rigs, and they've got to go via helicopter. And some of the stuff up in the northwest of WA, cyclones every 5 seconds.
There's a reason they get them out early. Oh, mate. Imagine that. No. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, what's the worst conditions you've played in as a player, though? The coldest, the rainiest. Do you remember the one day?
I've played in a game in Geelong that's been 5 or 6 degrees. One in Canberra that was not snowing as we've seen during, I think it was the 2021 season. The Giants played up there and it snowed for short periods. But there was one game up in Brisbane where we got about 60 or 70 mils of rain. Nothing like the 300 that they're preparing for on Thursday, Friday, and partly Saturday. So they were probably some of the worst conditions I've played in. Been fortunate to get away with. Although actually we did have a lightning delay last year's the Monday game where we were off the ground for a short period of time. So that was something that was a bit new to me in my 18th and last season. But no, I got away.
I admit that Lightning is an interesting one, obviously, for the players' safety. You know, they did the right thing, but there's still the whole crowd is still sitting there. So anyway, they've got to get off. They might get struck by lightning. You, however, are very expendable.
Buggers sitting in those stands for sure. Yeah, it's going to be. Well, you know, the season's going to be an absolute ripper anyway. We're expecting the good teams to remain good. There's a couple of other teams who are always putting up their hand. I'll be interested to hear what you've got to say about this quick one, Tom. Injuries leading into the season, right? If you looked at, I got a message from someone the other day saying, have a look at the all-injured team. There's a star from every side that's injured at the moment that's been done in the pre-season in particular. How many games do you reckon you should play, and can you go into the season without playing a game? Because it seems like people are getting injured just about every time we play a pre-season game.
Yeah, look, it's a topic that we continue to debate this time of year.
Yeah.
I think there's a fine line. I personally, as a player, always love the pre-season games. I think it prepares you just for the pace of the early season between sort of round 0 to 5 or 6. There's a lot of pace in those games. So I think it's really important for players, whether they're in their first year, whether they're in their 18th season like Paddy Dangerfield, I think it's important to play games. So it's just a matter of how you manage, whether it is senior players, whether it's a Bailey Smith type that's coming back from a long layoff of playing football at the highest level. So I think they're important. For an outsider looking in now, I think that the 2 games is about right. You certainly don't need to play a third, but my opinion is it's about right now.
All right, Tom, we look forward to a big season. We'll be able to watch you on Fox and Kayo Sports. Thanks, mate. Thanks for your time.
Hair.
Pleasure, guys. Yeah, and make sure you send the feedback of the hair back over east to me too. I'm interested in it.
It'll be regular.
Don't worry, we'll let you know. Thanks, Tommy.
See you,
Cheers.
Good on you guys. Thank you very much. Ciao.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Northbridge or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.